René Fournier found solace in a remote village nestled in the rolling hills of Provence. The village, untouched by the war's heavy hand, seemed a world apart from the chaos René had fled. Its cobblestone streets and sun-dappled fields provided a stark contrast to the smoky alleys of Paris. Yet even in this idyllic setting, René could not escape the shadows of his past. He rented a modest stone cottage on the edge of the village, its cellar converted into a hidden workshop. By day, he tended a small garden and repaired clocks and farm equipment for the villagers, who regarded him as a quiet but kind soul. By night, he poured himself into his designs, striving to perfect his machines and the fail-safes that would prevent their misuse. His creations now carried an almost ethereal quality, blending nature's elegance with technological ingenuity. Wings shaped like those of birds, propulsion systems that mimicked the quiet buzz of bees, all meticulously crafted in secret. Éloise, though weakened from her injury, remained René's steadfast companion. She spent her days writing in a small journal, her thoughts, often drifting between the horrors they had endured and the hope she saw in René's unyielding determination. Though her body had grown frail, her mind was sharp, and she became René's sounding board, offering wisdom and perspective as he wrestled with the moral implications of his work. "You can't just hide your ideas away," she told him one evening as they sat by the fire. "If you don't share your theories, your understanding others will fill the void, and they won't have your sense of responsibility." René looked at her, his face lined with exhaustion. "And if I share them, Éloise, what then? They'll twist my words, just as they twisted my machines." "They might," she admitted, her voice soft but resolute. "But isn't it better to try and guide the world than to let it stumble blindly?" Her words stayed with him, and he began to write. Page after page, René poured out his thoughts, essays on the ethical boundaries of innovation, warnings against the reckless pursuit of power, and visions of a future where technology served humanity rather than enslaving it. Despite their secluded life, news of the outside world filtered in through newspapers and the occasional traveler. René's stolen designs were being used in ever more destructive ways. Reports of unmanned aerial weapons striking enemy positions haunted him. The machines he had once dreamed would bring peace were now instruments of indiscriminate devastation. One day, a photograph in a newspaper caught his eye, a grainy image of a drone eerily similar to automaton, silhouetted against a smoking battlefield. The caption read the eyes of War France's unmanned arsenal. René's stomach churned as he read the accompanying article, which hailed the drones as a decisive advantage in the war effort. "They've taken everything," he muttered, crumpling the paper in his fists. "And they've learned nothing." Éloise placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch grounding him. "Then make them learn, René. Show them what these machines can be." Inspired by Éloise's unwavering belief in him, René began to envision a new path for his work. He abandoned designs that could be weaponized, focusing instead on machines that could aid humanity. A drone that could deliver supplies to remote villages. A machine that could survey and map farmland, helping farmers maximize their yield. An automated system to detect and warn against natural disasters. René also refined his fail-safe technology, creating a small, unassuming device that could disable any of his machines if activated. He tested it relentlessly, ensuring it was foolproof. This device became his silent guardian, a safeguard against the misuse of his work. As René's theories took shape, He compiled them into a manuscript titled The Conscience of the Machine. The book was a blend of technical insight and philosophical reflection, a manifesto for a future where technology and humanity coexisted in harmony. But René hesitated to share it with the world. The fear of his ideas being twisted again held him back. Éloise, sensing his reluctance, took matters into her own hands. She sent a chapter to a trusted contact in Paris, a former journalist who had fled the city's turmoil for the resistance. Weeks later, a letter arrived. The journalist was enthralled by René's vision and urged him to publish the manuscript. But René was cautious. He didn't want his name associated with the work, fearing it would draw attention to his location and put Éloise at risk. Instead, he chose a pseudonym, architect Fournier, the Forgotten Architect. Under this guise, his essays began to appear in underground publications, sparking quiet debates among intellectuals and inventors. René's work did not go unnoticed by his enemies. Reports of his essays reached the military and les veilleurs, both of whom saw the ideas as a threat to their agendas. Strange figures began appearing in the village, asking questions about the quiet man who repaired clocks and kept to himself. One night, René woke to find the cottage shrouded in silence, an unnatural stillness that prickled at his senses. He crept to the window and saw a figure standing near the garden gate, a glint of metal in their hand. He knew then that his sanctuary was no longer safe. René began preparing for the inevitable. He devised a plan to scatter his remaining blueprints and designs across France, entrusting them to a network of sympathizers. Éloise, though frail, insisted on helping. "This isn't just your fight, René," she said, her eyes fierce. "It's ours." As they packed their belongings, René gazed out at the countryside, his heart heavy yet resolute. The village had given him peace, but it could not shield him from the storm gathering on the horizon. "I won't let them win," he whispered, more to himself than to Éloise. "Not again." And so, with Éloise by his side, René prepared to step into the shadows once more, not as a fugitive, but as a man determined to reclaim his dream from those who sought to corrupt it.